Indigenous people around the world are preparing for COP16, a meeting that seeks to organize the agenda of the different governments and indigenous peoples within the COP16 Biodiversity Conference to be held at the end of next month in Cali, Colombia. Our colleague Valeria Cardona has the details.
More than 150 representatives of governments and indigenous peoples from 7 regions around the world gather at the Botanical Garden in Bogotá for the Global Summit of Traditional Knowledge related to the world's biodiversity, an event that runs from August 26 to 29, 2024.
Y justamente hoy estamos en la cumbre.
Today we are precisely at the Biodiversity Summit within the framework of traditional knowledge. And here we will develop an agenda that seems fundamental to us. And that is how we describe ourselves as indigenous peoples of the world to arrive with a clear message to the world, from our knowledge, from our ancestry, but especially from our cultural practices.
During these 4 days, indigenous representatives from around the world will seek to create a joint agenda that they will present during the days of the COP16 in the city of Cali, which will take place during the last days of September and the beginning of the month of October under 2 main objectives.
The
purpose of this meeting, or this World Summit of Indigenous Peoples on Biodiversity, is to ratify the demand for the recognition of the know-how of indigenous peoples and its contribution to humanity, which contributes to the sustainability of biodiversity. Ambassadors present here recognize that 80% of the world's biodiversity is managed by indigenous governments, based on their knowledge systems, on their regulatory systems, on their governance systems. So this has to be an objective.
The second objective, according to the General Council of the National Organization of Indigenous Peoples of Colombia, has to do with the discussion of an article related to biodiversity, which requires the creation of a permanent committee to follow up and implement the knowledge systems of the indigenous peoples.
Our elders from the different indigenous peoples have been teaching us through dancing, singing, through music. They have been transmitting this knowledge to learn to love, to care, to defend, and especially all the indigenous peoples of the planet have taught us to take care of nature. And this is important today, and I believe that COP16 should assume this as a teaching method not only for the indigenous peoples but for all humanity, because we need it.
Colombian Environment Minister Susana Muhammad says that indigenous peoples are key players in the discussion of biodiversity in the world and seek to make their knowledge available, to be recognized as stakeholders who govern and exercise sovereignty over biodiversity issues in the world, and to have an impact on decisions on this issue at the global level.
Valeria Cardona, teleSUR, Bogotá, Colombia.